Welcome to 5D University, and today's topic is tools and techniques for transformation on the awakening journey. And really, these are all what we call self-love disciplines, because all tools and techniques that we use to dissolve our programmings, to heal ourselves physically, emotionally, the tools that we use to transform lower energies, especially when, like we talked about in the vibration video, where we're using these tools to move through emotions or just lower thoughts or whatever it is to get ourselves back to a higher vibration, right? It's all self-love. The path of self-love is the path of mastery. They are one and the same. So all the tools and techniques follow under the category of self-love disciplines. And discipline is a divine trait, and it is key for your spiritual journey. It is so key. Consistency and discipline are, because you have to be consistent. Because remember, breaking down these programmings, dissolving old belief systems, healing, and raising your vibration and coming more into your higher self. This is a huge process. This is not an overnight type of deal. And a lot of these programmings and these wounds, they're very deep, right? And a lot of us are doing this spiritual journey kind of on our own in a way. Maybe there's not a lot of friends and family members who are doing this as well. So we're carrying a large energetic load for a lot of the collectives. So this takes time. It is a process. The more consistent we are and the more disciplined we are, the more mastery we will obtain, and the easier it will be to move through experiences, to move through healing and all of that. So for those of you who are, before I start, I'm going to kind of share a lot of the tools and techniques, aka the self-love disciplines. But if you would like to have these, we do have an entire 30-day plan of self-love disciplines. It is on our home site at 5dfulldisclosure.org. If you go to the library section, there is a self-love mastery 30-day plan. It has all of these tools and techniques already in there, and it also kind of breaks them down into how you can implement these daily for 30 days, because 30 days is what creates a habit. So we want to deprogram old habits, and we want to anchor in divine disciplines, divine consistency and mastery. So feel free to download that. And so when we're going through any sort of healing, and I kind of broke these up to maybe understand them a little easier, into some of the tools that are really great for physical healing, some that are really particularly great for emotional healing, some that are great for healing the mental body, reprogramming the old belief systems into higher thoughts and things like that, and then the spiritual healing aspect. So the physical healing, the first tool and technique that we have on here is the garlic cleanse. If any of you have ever, I'm sure many of you have research and know the really amazing and powerful effects of garlic. It is one of the most potent healing agents that we have been gifted. And so it's really good to help detoxify the body, especially if there's been a lot of pain or illness or disease in the body, and just to help flush out toxins that we naturally, get from the food, the water, the air, all of that. And so we have practiced the 7-day garlic cleanse, which you can do it for as long as you'd like, less or more, but 7 days is usually a really good amount of time. And you basically do about a clove of garlic a day raw. And the reason we suggest it raw is because that's when it has the most potent effect. So We do have it on there if you would like to do that. You can also look up any recipes or other ways to incorporate garlic into your diet and into, kind of your daily meals, because it is great to help detoxify the body, especially if you're feeling a lot of physical based symptoms. Oil pulling is also one of the best healing tools, because the teeth are actually, all of your teeth are connected to every organ in your body. So especially when you start going through this process, and remember, the awakening process is moving from 3D to 4D to 5D. Part of that process is working through the lower life-draining emotional state that we talked about in the vibration video. And these actually physically purge from the body, as many of you might have studied like body graphs and things. They will tend to tell you things like anger tends to get stored in the stomach, things like that. There's different emotions that tend to resonate with different chakra areas, and so they tend to get stuck in different parts of the body. And the teeth are connected to all those organs, and so the teeth are transmitters and processors, and this is why we have so many issues with teeth. I know many of you guys might experience tooth pain and things like that along the journey, because the teeth are actually doing a lot of processing and releasing, helping us. So oil pulling is a great way to help pull those toxins and density that the teeth are processing, and to keep those healthy. If you've never heard of oil pulling, it's really simple. Coconut oil, you swish it around in your mouth 15 to 20 minutes, and then you spit it out. Do not swallow it. So oil pulling is great. The next thing that is a tool that you can use every day is blessing your food and water, or anything you're consuming, right? Because there, of course, are going to be times where we can't necessarily, for most of us, we're not able to eat pure organic food all of the time, or maybe we're not able to, get pure water all the time. And so we practice the art of blessing anything that you consume. And this is really simple. You can come up with your own mantra, whatever works for you. But if you're going to eat a meal, and no matter what the meal is, you simply just bless it. Just put gratitude into the food. Thank, whoever made it. Thank, Mother Earth for supplying the ingredients, any of that. And just ask for all lower vibrations to be cleared from the food, right? This is the art of practicing intention, and our intentions are very powerful. So just doing this every day with whatever you're consuming, and do this with your water as well. This will also really help with the physical healing, because even if, like I said, you don't have access to maybe pure food and pure water all the time, and you're really working to detoxify, the art of blessing food and water is really key and can really help with, physical healing. Next is grounding. And grounding entails literally going outside. And a lot of you may be like, I live in cold weather. I know. It's a struggle. But we have done it in the snow before, so it can be done. But if you are, if you have the ability to go out and basically place your bare feet onto the grass or some sort of land, that is organic, not concrete, 5 minutes a day. If you're really struggling with physical healing, you may want to spend some more time than that per day, because earthing, the art of earthing, is an amazing healing tool, right? Mother Earth provides us with so much healing. The ground in nature actually naturally can start absorbing some of the lower vibrations. There's been a lot of really great literature and books out there about earthing and how it helps our body and just connecting to the earth. So grounding is a really important tool. It also, you can ground anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, anytime you're feeling, the energies hit, you're feeling maybe a little bit spinny, overwhelmed, anxious, anything like that. grounding techniques are really helping. Again, if you're in a climate that doesn't allow you to do that, things like an earthing or grounding mat inside your house also can have the same effect. Sun gazing, there's a lot of things out there of like being fearful of the sun, and of course everything in moderation, nothing in extreme. But sun gazing is great because the light from the sun is pure and organic. It heals us. It brings us codes. If you're not into sun gazing, then just being outside in the sun, 5 to 10 minutes. And I know, again, a lot of you might not maybe live in an area that has a lot of sunshine. So there's, many other ways that we can do this, right? There are things out there that I've seen that seem to a lot of people to get really great effects from, like red lighting inside their house, like anything that's healing. But if you do have the opportunity to get into the sun really does help heal. Again, in moderation. You're not sitting out there for 4 hours. You're just getting a little bit of that vitality and healing energy from the sun to just kind of give your body that extra source of energy to help heal itself. Cold showers. A lot of you may have heard of things like cryotherapy and ice baths and things like that. Again, everything in moderation. But cold showers are amazing. The cold resets your body. It helps just calm the body. It resets everything so that we can process faster. And so this could be as simple as 30 seconds at the end of your warm shower. You hit the cold for 30 seconds. It is uncomfortable, but part of being uncomfortable, right, means that we shock the stagnant energy out. So if you resonate with that, if that's something that you feel you want to incorporate, again, you do it in moderation. It could be a couple times a week, could be once a week that, you do cold water for 30 seconds. If you'd like to go longer than that, follow your guidance. But cold showers are also really great to use in small doses for healing the body and also just resetting the system again, especially if you feel very energetically overwhelmed, bogged down, anxious, things like that. Water healing in general is also great, treating every shower or bath as a healing. And really, again, you can bless the water there. You can treat it as a healing technique because water is very healing. Pools, rivers, lakes, oceans, they all give us amazing healing tools. There's a lot of things out there like floating tanks and things like that. Follow your guidance, but all the elementals are here to provide some sort of healing for us. Meditation is, so some of these are not things you're going to do every day, but there are a few that daily really help. Things like grounding every day in some form is key. Blessing your food and water every day, very key. Meditation is something that you can do daily. Again, doesn't have to be for long periods of time. I know there's a lot of people when they're first on the journey, they're trying to learn meditation and they can't sit still and they can't shut down their thoughts, and that's understandable. And again, you don't get discouraged if that's what you experience, because anything can be a meditation. The art of actually, sitting and meditating, that comes with mastery, because it is challenging. Again, when we talked about the vibration video, don't try to run the whole marathon first day out the gate. So if you're struggling to meditate and you can't shut thoughts off, you can't sit still, then do something that creates a space of stillness for you. Meditation can really be anything. Cleaning could be a meditation. If cleaning makes you feel calm, and anything basically that puts you in a state of stillness, and that doesn't have to mean physical stillness, that's a stillness within. Anything where you can be super present in the moment and not be thinking about 5 million things, that is meditation. So again, some people might clean as a form of meditation. They get really in the zone, they're super present, they're not thinking about anything, and they're cleaning. That's meditation. Doing dishes can be a meditation. If you're super present in that moment, that's a meditation. You're still inside. Walking could be a meditation. Art can very much be a meditation. Listening to music could be a meditation. So anything that you would like, but meditation every day, in some way, shape, or form is really helpful because it gives the body finally the space. The body is very divinely intelligent. It's always working to help us heal. But sometimes we don't give it the space, right? Because we're stressed or we're thinking about a million things. So it just needs space. And sometimes even just once a day doing something where you're super present, you feel calm, you're not having racing thoughts, that provides space for your body, to be able to heal. And it's really just great overall for our energetic systems to have that space of stillness for some moments every day. Movement is healing. If you enjoy working out, go for it. If you enjoy running, go for it. But there's a million ways that you can incorporate movement to help, move energy from the body, help the body release energy through movement. It could be stretching, it could be yoga, it could be walking, it could be dancing, it could be rollerblading. It could simply be you're cleaning out your house and you're moving around, you're lifting boxes, you're cleaning. That's movement too. So those are definitely the key ones that every day as a discipline. Now, the emotional healing tools are especially when we're working through wounded parts of ourselves, when we're releasing a lot of lower emotions, or maybe we're just moving through them. Inner child healing is a huge one. And those you can really just identify as letting yourself do things for just joy. That's it. There's no outcome that you're seeking. It's not because you're going to get some sort of reward for it. It's not because you have to and you're obligated to. Inner child healing can really come down to doing things for the love of doing them, because that's what children do. They're not drawing a picture because they're going to make money from it, or because they're going to get some sort of reward for it, or because they have to draw a picture. They're drawing because they want to draw. And we lose the art of that as we get in our adult years because of the programming. So doing things just for the simple pleasure of them is really healing to our emotional state. And again, no belief systems in this. If for you that is watching your favorite movie and just sitting on the couch, and that's healing for you. Maybe you watch a childhood movie that you used to love. Maybe you just watch a movie that you really wanted to watch, and you're not feeling guilty about it, and you're not thinking about all the things you could be doing instead of doing this. You're just really enjoying it. That's healing. It could be art, it could be baking, it could be just singing, it could be anything. But that is really key, especially when we're in lower states, when we're in lower emotional states and we're working through them. Do things that are going to bring you joy. Do things that are going to bring you some sort of comfort. Again, not to get stuck there, because if we're stuck in that state for a long period of time, we can become really stagnant and bogged down, and we're not actually moving out of the state. We're like, oh, we're healing, but we've been doing it for months. You need to know yourself and know where you're at, and allow yourself to do things out of joy, comfort, and nurture yourself, but don't get stuck in that state. Make sure it's actually helping you move out of that lower emotion, not just reinforcing the lower emotion. Forgiveness ceremonies are great. We all have experiences and people and things that we have to forgive, most importantly ourselves. So forgiveness ceremonies can be extremely powerful. Essentially, you just write out a letter either to yourself. You write a letter to another person that does not have to be shared with them, or you just write a letter forgiving an experience that maybe you've been holding on to. and then you burn it. And you'd be amazed how much that releases. You'd be amazed just by the art and the intention of forgiving. So if you're working with forgiveness ceremonies can be really powerful. As well as any ceremony. So I'll say that. So any ceremony can really help with the processing and transmuting of any lower emotion or programming or wounding. You just write out the intention that you wish to release it, you wish to heal it. And then that's it. Not that it just goes away like that, but because you've put your intention there, it speeds up the process. You're intending to release it. You're intending to heal it. So those can be used whenever you feel guided. Journaling. Highly recommend journaling every day. This is just a process of kind of jotting down your feelings, jotting down what you're experiencing, jotting down what has maybe been, you've been thinking about, maybe has been coming up for you, because that is another form of release. Anytime we write something or we speak something out loud, we are releasing it. And so oftentimes we can't always speak it, right? Because, we don't want to be having to dump all of our emotional baggage onto someone all of the time. When there's an aligned time and place for us to share with someone, and maybe it requires that sometimes for us to be vulnerable with someone. Maybe there is a time and place where we're guided to actually have a conversation with someone that we feel we need to extend forgiveness to, or maybe we need to just get something out of our system and actually express it to that person. That's emotional healing, but we can't do that all of the time, right? Because then it can lead to a dumping. So you'll know by your guidance, and then there's a time and place where we just express it ourselves. We just express it by writing it out. It could even be talking it out loud to yourself, but moving the energy somehow. Self-care. Self-care is really important. This is not like, getting your hair done and your nails done, although if that's for you as self-care, then that's great. But self-care is really nurturing the self. So it's becoming really in tune with your emotional body and what your emotional body is requiring at that moment. So if for you, self-care is, that I've got to take better care of myself. I'm not moving my body. I'm not doing my self-love disciplines. Maybe you just have kind of fallen off with your disciplines. Then, you've got to nurture yourself back into those. Taking care of yourself can come in all different forms. It could be, eating what is really aligned for your body without judging yourself, or without like trying to force yourself into some sort of strict way of eating and enjoying food. It could be that you just need to give yourself some time and space to relax. Maybe you need to give yourself some time and space again to do things for the joy of it, and not everything being something we have to do in an obligation. So self-care can come in many different forms, but it's really key to emotional healing, because we have to treat ourselves the same way we would treat someone else who's healing, Now, mental body healing is going to be mostly dissolving the ego programmings, basically rewiring ourselves into the higher thought system, and also dissolving belief systems. So ego death ceremonies, as I talked about in the ego video, key. You can use them as many times as you want, and it never really ends, right? I mean, at a certain point, we are able to utilize other tools maybe. But in the beginning, those are very, very powerful. Again, you're stating an intention to dissolve a programming. And through these other self-love disciplines, what you're really doing is reprogramming yourself. I don't really like that word, but realigning yourself with higher truth, realigning yourself with oneness, realigning yourself with the higher vibrational truths, right? So ego death ceremony is a powerful way to help with that, and also mirror affirmations in the I am format. So if you utilize our self-love discipline guide, it has in there all the divine traits. You can say all of them in the mirror. every day, like I am, compassionate, I am courageous, I am empathetic, I am passionate, whatever ones that you want to say, if you have specific ones you want to focus on, or say them all. Or make up you can always add on to those divine affirmations and add in other things, but those are the core ones. And it only takes 5 minutes. I swear to you, it only takes 5 minutes. But if you get in the mirror every day, doesn't matter when, although it's usually best to do in the morning because it kind of sets you up well for the day. But if that doesn't work for you, you're not a morning person, do it whenever you feel guided. But getting in that mirror and saying those affirmations to yourself, you may think is silly, but you are speaking it to your cells. And eventually your cells now emit those traits, those frequencies. And so even if in the beginning, a lot of us, when we start in the beginning, we may not even really be believing the things we're saying, like it's kind of awkward sometimes when you first start and you're like getting in the mirror and you're like, okay, I am beautiful. It feels like really uncomfortable. That's because the programming is breaking down as we're saying these things. And then eventually you love them, your cells are so grateful to now like be anchoring in those divine traits, and you feel them in your body, you feel them as part of who you are. So I am affirmations are really powerful, especially when we're working to realign ourselves with our highest self. Conscious breathing, especially if we're having a lot of thoughts, racing thoughts, lower thoughts. Conscious breathing can break that sometimes, but it's a great tool to just utilize anytime you feel the mental body is either overactive or it's falling into lower thought systems, lower beliefs, which is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you can imagine yourself breathing in love, breathing out love. And you can do that for, 30 seconds, a minute, longer if you'd like. But it really does kind of bring us back into the heart space, kind of brings us back, calms us down, especially with the deep breathing, and can help realign us rather quickly. If the mental body is just, it's scattered, it's triggered, it's falling into, lower thoughts, the conscious breathing can kind of start to bring us back to a center point. The next one is conscious resting. So this is basically because when we rest, we do a lot of healing. And so before you go to rest, stating an intention that you would like to consciously rest, because for a lot of people in the collective, when they go to rest, it's very unconscious and they're kind of just like knocking out, they're just like passing out, and there's really no conscious intention there. And so no right or wrong, but you can actually get a lot of healing out of resting if that's your intention. So before resting, just simply state the intention, like, thank you, angels, thank you, my guides, source, whoever you like to connect to. But that's recommended, angels, guides, or source, to help me consciously rest, help me heal while I rest, and help me clear some of these lower thoughts and belief systems while I rest, because we're never really asleep, right? Even when we're resting, our spirit, our soul is still very much active. So conscious resting is also a great practice. Now, part of the spiritual healing is to really, it's us learning how to master our own energy, right? That's what we're doing, is we're just mastering our own energy. And so, like I said in the vibration video, it can be challenging sometimes because we are connected to the collective consciousness. We're not a one-man island. We feel the collective. We pick up on the thoughts and the emotions of the collective. So the key is not to, again, try to separate ourselves from that. It is simply to use tools to protect our energy system, boundaries, so that we are able to stay in a more centered place no matter what is going on outside of us. Doesn't mean we're not going to feel it but it means we're in a centered enough space that we can easily move through it. We want to protect our energy field. So cutting cords is a great one. And so this can be done many times a day, however you would like to do it. But usually it's when, especially if you're around a lot of people, or you may be out in public spaces and you're feeling the energy, you're getting a little overwhelmed. It's usually a sign, because again, we share energy fields. So we just have to cut cords, which simply means, okay, I cut cords with everyone and everything and all events. And then I reattach all of my energetic cords to just pure love, right? And source. So this helps cut out some of the energy cords that it just happens. Sometimes when you have a conversation with someone, you meet someone and you have a whole conversation, we don't see it, but our auric fields are combining in that moment. And sometimes it can create a cord. It just means that we are now connected to that person, right? And people that we are around a lot, we have energetic cords with them. So we can cut those cords every day, as many times a day as we need, to bring it back to our own energy, right? So simple, cut cords with everyone and everything and all events, and I reattach it to unconditional love and source. Shielding is another tool and technique. So shielding, it just means you pretty much visualize having a protective shield around you. This could be like a rainbow bubble. This could be just a love shield. It could be whatever you envision, whatever you enjoy. It could be anything. If you like the idea of kind of like a old school knight shield, then, envision that. And it's basically just consciously and intentionally putting up a shield around you, again, especially if you're going to be around a lot of people, that just helps protect your energy, just helps you be conscious, centered, because as we talked about the vibrational scales, what happens is if you're at a higher vibration and you're around someone who's really in a lower vibration, well, by the law of energy, the lower vibration will try to go to the higher vibration so that it can be raised up to meet them. Because if you have high energy and low energy, the low energy must come to meet the higher. Of course, the lower can go down, but that's if we choose. Otherwise, the higher vibration energy doesn't change. It forces this one up. So that's why a lot of people who are on the journey experience, other people are always trying to drag them down into the lower state. Well, that's because it's uncomfortable when there are two beings at different vibrational levels. It's uncomfortable, and it's especially uncomfortable for the one in the lower vibration, because the higher vibration triggers it. The higher vibration being can choose to stay in that higher vibration, but this one's going to try and pull you down to their level to make them more comfortable. That's what this whole game is about. It's all an energetic game. So people unconsciously will try to pull you down to a lower vibration so that they feel more comfortable. It's not personal. Nothing is personal. It's energetic. They're energetically feeling uncomfortable. Or sometimes the lower vibration person or being or whatever will try to dump their lower vibrations onto you as a higher vibrational being, and so that you can basically process that lower energy for them so that they can raise up. It's all about trying to match the frequency. So this can lead to what we call energetic taking, which most of humanity is in unconsciously. They don't know they're doing it, right? And it happens in one of those two ways. They try to bring you to their level, or they basically try to take energy from you so that they can raise themselves up. So they're just trying to match, and they don't know they're doing it. So when you're around a lot of, beings or maybe environments that might be holding lower vibration, it's okay. You shield, you protect your energy to just be very conscious and aware of when that begins to happen. And then you just place an energetic boundary These are the tools. You cut cords, you shield, you say, no, thank you. I'm not going to take that energy on, or I'm not going to lower. And then what you're basically doing is you're providing the other being an opportunity for them to raise their own vibration, for them to release their own lower emotions, right? You're empowering people in a way, because if you just keep taking on the work, well, they're not going to learn. So shielding and boundaries are super important. It's part of the tools. Using the violet flame, if any of you have ever connected with it, it originally came from Saint Germain, but the violet flame is a brilliant tool. You basically just visualize it. You can, ask Saint Germain, to give you the violet flame, and you basically just envision it. And the violet flame is really purifying tool and energy. So whenever maybe you're feeling, again, lower emotions, whenever you're feeling some energy that's stuck, whenever you're just wanting to kind of purge anything lower from your auric field, from your body, from your system, you can meditate and bring in the violet flame. Imagine it just purifying your whole system. That's another great tool. Automatic writing. Automatic writing can be done every day if you want. We recommend it. And automatic writing is really where you sit down and make sure you're in the space where you're not having racing thoughts, you're not super distracted, because you want to be able to just be in the space where you can focus on the writing and connect with your higher self. Okay. There's a lot of channelers out there, we channel, but there's a big difference between channeling and making sure you're actively connecting with your higher self, because there's some people who all they do is channel other multidimensional beings. But you want to be mostly connecting with your higher self, because that is your essence, that is your soul, that is coming into integration. So that should be where the most time is spent in terms of connecting to the etheric, channel your higher self, basically. That's the key. So you just sit down and you say, okay, higher self, what messages do you have for me today? Anything you want to share? And some people say that they struggle with it because I think the mind immediately tries to click in, and we try to think about what we're supposed to be getting through and what we're supposed to be writing. And it really is such a artistic process. It doesn't require any thinking. You may start just drawing pictures. You may just have a word or a phrase come to you, or it may be full messages. But write down whatever comes through, and don't judge it and don't get attached to it, and then let it go. And then as you do this practice, it'll start to become a lot more clear, that channel. And you will develop this really wonderful relationship with yourself. And that is the key, because developing the relationship with yourself, with your true self, is the key to that full connection with Source. We have to really come to know ourselves. So don't judge it. If you get stuck with the automatic writing, really get into a space where you're not thinking, and just try to write down a few things. And then each day it gets easier. And you may find that as you look back, even the things, 1 or 2 words or phrases that you wrote down actually were really synchronistic, but you didn't know it, So automatic writing is really, really a great tool. Highly recommended to do it every day if you can, but at least a few times a week. And connecting with your angels. If you've never connected with your angels, maybe I'll do a separate video on that. But connecting with your angels, connecting with your higher self, these are really important tools. Our angels are there to assist us. That's their whole job. Our higher self is there to direct us and guide us. That's our higher self's job, until the higher self comes into that complete embodiment where we now have all the internal guidance and knowing, and all just within. And so these are the tools and techniques that you can utilize. Again, if you want to download the guide, please do. And there are many other tools and techniques, but these are really the core. If you can get your disciplines down to even doing just 3 or 4 of these per day, again, I would recommend that for a daily discipline, to include grounding, meditation, movement, journaling. And that could be journaling or automatic writing. Journaling is just you kind of writing out what you're feeling, and automatic writing as just another side to that. I am affirmations, really important. And I would say cutting cords, key. And again, all of this doesn't take very much time, but if you get into the practice of this and the consistency, it just becomes natural and organic, and it just allows you to move through this process so much easier. So, thank you guys. Any questions, feel free to comment. And if anybody is looking for additional resources, check out the homepage, and I'll be back soon.